All right. Beats the alternative, certainly. Okay. All right. I've been saying I was going to do this for a while, and I need to get this done. And also, we got a special guest appearance from Mr. Bear. Hello. Hello, everybody. I'm Mr. Bear. I come to watch and be part of the broadcast. I'm glad to see you today. Thank you, and please send me some honey. Okay, all right, we'll set him off to the side. He's not much useful. Actually, if you knew how he was, he's in the refrigerator a little too much. But hey, that's life, you know. If I was a bear, I'd be in every refrigerator I could get in, wouldn't you? Okie doke. I've been getting like bad skin callus like down there so far, but peeling them off through the week. So I figure for this one, especially if the So-29 is kind of heavy, I'm gonna wear some gloves for a little bit until my hands get too hot, and then I'll just be a sissy. How about that? Okay. All right. Pop them out, a little gap in between ears. Yeah, see what we got. Hope everybody's doing pretty good. I think that's a little bouncy, isn't it? Oh, well, you'll have that. Anyway, be sure to hit that like button. Appreciate you guys being in here. Check out my alley for a second. back to digging this thing out with it. Come on, baby. Okay, out here on this plank. Anyway, it's a little bouncy. I didn't anticipate that. Sorry about it's already looking like a bear a little bit. Come on, baby. Man. Man, this thing's being Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde today. Well, I'll tell you what, that one's irritating. What happens is, for some reason on this, it just needs a new plug cap, and the plug cap vibrates off. And it'll run. I mean, it'll start, it'll run, it'll make contact. It's not good. I just popped the top off, fixed it, and it should be good now. There we go. Think about my plug. All right, I'm gonna start shaping his head out. I gotta take quite a bit of this out of it, reduce the head shape down some. But anyway, I mean, you can already see, it already looks like a bear. Let's see who we got in here. Heck yeah, all right. Glad to see you in there. Starts and runs for a few seconds, and bogs down. Yeah, a lot of them do that. I got a problem with this MS170 I got here. It gives me trouble like that sometimes. Okay, I'm gonna, well, I guess before I do that, I'm gonna take some of this shape down before I go ahead and give the actual shape of the head, or the bottom of the head. Take some of these corners off, and I'm gonna do that with this big saw. Tell you what, that shows how that anti-kickback protection works. That thing kicked back a little bit, hit that lever, it was done. And anyway, I probably should get a smaller saw. Anyhow, right now I want to try to dig his face out. But I mean, that fast. I can't believe how fast it already looks like a bear. And this is my first time carving one this big. So, I mean, by far, the furthest biggest I've ever done is a 4-footer that wasn't nearly this around either. So, considering that, I'm pretty happy with how it's starting out. So, I'm going to cut these edges down right here a little bit and work on that nose. Dig the ears out, but it's got a nice little shape to it. And I mean, to me, it's just insanely how fast this came together. It's just insane. I'm pretty happy with it though. I can't complain. All right, so I got the ears and the nose. Start doing more of the nose. Give it a nose and dig out a bunch of this here. I think I want to do that first. I'm gonna use a 16 for that. It's a little too hard to reach with that. It is what it is. Yeah, 10-inch bar. Hey, it's awesome for little stuff. But that's mostly what I do, just little carvings. I don't do much big stuff. This will be the biggest one I've ever done. Like shooting a plastic thing. Alright, go back to 10-inch bar. But, you know, it's no I knew that was coming. It was out of fuel. No, it's just Helen Keller. All right. I look at that camera and I think, man, they're probably going to think I'm on a boat. 16 to do the trim those ears up more. Well, I hope everybody's doing pretty good. Let's see what we got here. All right, 171 likes already. We've been on a half hour. That's pretty awesome. Hey, Dylan, Ray, Lori, Keller, what's going on? Glad to see you guys. All right. dig his ears out. Let's see what we got here. Hope everybody's doing pretty good. Hit that like button. Hey, baby kisses, dad, plywood. Glad to see you guys in there. Heck yeah. All right. So I'm gonna dig his ears out. And so I got it. One reason I was having to work so hard in here is like there's somehow bark came up in here. I don't know if it was like where the tree reduces down, but it is what it is. Just got to work with it as it is. So that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, let's get Helen back out. that's a brand new Forester bar I just put on yesterday, and I'm not having the problems that Caleb was having, Chucker, because my chain is an old chain, and that's what's making the difference for me. It was already broke in, but that said, here I'll move this a little closer. Hey, where are y'all going?
Waffle House.
What? Waffle House? Okay, well, be careful. Lots of weirdos at Waffle House this time of the night. Okay. Yeah, I got a little closer. That's not bad at all, is it? Okay. Heck yeah, be sure to hit that like button. We're almost up to 100. That ain't bad at all. We'll take it. So, I need to go ahead and further define the shape of the head and cut the shoulders the rest of the way out. So that's going to be next, I think. Yeah, so this has got to come down a little bit more, round the head out. But I mean, I can't believe how fast. Make this guy, he's got some fat rolls, you know. I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever been to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and Pigeon Forge. That's Pigeon Forge, actually. It's got they got a bear, like, lives in this little bear cave thing they built, you know. And that is the most obese thing you ever seen. I mean, his rolls in his head are so fat that, like, he has fat coming over the top of his ears, pushing his ears forward. You feel bad for him. I mean, it's because he's out there in the heat, you know, struggling. People are throwing him grapes and expecting him to, you know, roll over and play dead and stuff, you know, like a dog. Get the 16 to be able to reach up in there to thin that out a little bit. I'll tell you what, I got all this set up, and then once I got everything set up, I sat in the truck for a while and just got cold. And yeah, I think that helped. I drank a bottle of water, sat in the truck, just got cold. Okay, I'm gonna cut these shoulders down. Chain off. You know what? And I ain't that mad at it. I'll go to the little one. If the little one's not big enough, I'll use a 20. How about that? Okay. That way I want to slow down. I got 4 saws out here total right now. Shoulder rod on this side. But anyway, just digging it off, and I may decide to cut a little more out. I don't know. We're gonna find out. But my goal is to be totally done with the net. To get mine eye sockets, and we'll give him a smile. Just looking here to here. Looks like I need a little more to come off of that side. give him a smile. That's what I'm after next. Nice, ridiculous looking smile. Let's see what we got here. Heck yeah, we got over 100 likes. That's awesome. Heck yeah. I haven't even been on here an hour. I'll take that. Small looks pretty good. I mean, he's got a ridiculously happy, really happy look to him. So I'm looking at this side to this side. I need to buff this down a little bit. Take some of this. There's a point here, and it stands out. Oh yeah, it's a little better. Yeah. So I got a couple different options I could do on the eyes. I like to dig them back a little bit. And there's so much head here that if I don't like it, in this case, I can change it. So I'm gonna do it how I normally would do it. And then if I decide not to, yeah, Helen's legitimately out of gas, so let me grab another one. This is a Neotec NS32, and I like it. It's not bad. It does a pretty good job. How about that? sockets look pretty good. Look good to me anyway. Let's see what we got here. Heck yeah. All right, 100 people watching, 110 likes. Can't beat that. But anyway, so that's where the bear is going. I'm gonna give him one more fat roll. And I haven't made up my mind yet. This bear might end up being a welcome bear, or it might just be a standalone bear. And I don't know. I just think that fat roll should go away and be way back in there, like more vertical, and not so much out at a 45. I'll leave it alone for now because I'm going to hair the head. I want to be able to get the head completed because that's what's keeping me up here on this higher elevation. And once I get that done, I won't have to be. So I'm going to start hairing this dude now. I think head-wise, he looks pretty good on eyeballs and stuff like that. So, all right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. there's a section back here that the bark went in, and I got to dig that out. It's on this side. And really, the only thing I can see that would make the most sense is just cut it off right here evenly on both sides, a 20-inch bar. But I don't know. I think he's looking pretty good. What do you guys think? Let's see. 118 likes. Hey, Possum, what's going on? Glad to see you. We got Lori Keller, baby kisses. Glad to see you guys. Okay. Anyhow, that's hands down, that's the biggest bear head I've made. All right, let's do it. I'm gonna clean that back up and then hair the back of it. And then we'll probably try to do a bit of the shoulders too. Let's see. I don't know. Uh-oh. I think I saw it way too big for what I was just trying to do with it. No doubt. All right, I'm gonna hair the back side of his head. Okay, so really, unless I want to hair the ears, I normally don't. But in this case, I think I'm gonna hair the top of the ears too. Just because they're kind of rough. Got a nick here, you got a hole from the tree there. I just think it'd look better if I went ahead and haired it. It's gonna make it look a little more natural. But we'll see what we can get here. Heck yeah, 128 likes. We'll take that. Not bad, not good, right? That's really good. I'll take it. And then for me to go any further, I can start to dig the shoulders. And I still haven't made up my mind whether I want him to be like that or whether I want him to be like that to be holding a sign. I'm probably gonna go with like that. But either way, I can dig the tops of his shoulders out. That part, that's not hard. But let me go ahead and hair these ears first, and then we'll figure it out. Mm-hmm. Try to cut the nose holes in too. I mean, normally I wouldn't. I'm doing the burr, but these so big, and nose holes are so big that I don't know. It's kind of worth thinking about. I know one thing. I decided I don't like that, and I can't really round this out anymore. Yeah, I guess I can. I'm going to get rid of that. I can tell you that. But let me round this off first. Mm-hmm. Go back to this one. See if I got enough step to reach in there the way. Yeah. So I'm gonna cut it not straight from here, but I don't know. It's gonna be like a 15-degree angle, something like that. We'll see. dig the front of the shoulders out. Okay. Well, I got to put fuel in them. But anyway, I guess y'all can sit here and look at it and wonder what the heck's going on. How about that? And you might get ahead of me on figuring it out. I don't know. Okay, I'm going to fuel up. They both got oil in them. So I'm going to fuel up both these 10-inch bars for now. Because I'm not going to get any further than I would with the 10-inch bars kind of drawing this out. At least not in, it's roughly 2-hour time frame I was shooting for. Man, it's hot. I'll have to blow the dust off. Probably just have to take a shower, get in the pool, cool off, clean all this mess up. What I got, I'll have to get the, what I got a 14-foot trailer and all some planks screwed together, and that's what my little catwalk is here. And the trailer is almost too high for this, for 6-footer. But I don't, it's not too high, but it's almost too high. How about that? Okay, all right. So I'm kind of, and I don't even know that I'm gonna stick with these, but I'm kind of like trying to dig arms out, and I'm gonna give him big, bulky arms in the back and reduce them down quite a bit in the front. At least that's what I'm thinking. But for the moment, I've kind of got the paws coming together in the front. That's what I'm shooting for. So let's see what we can get. That's Helen. Okay, Helen. is the idea. So far, I got them coming together. I don't know if I'll leave it that way, put them kind of to the side. I ain't really sure, but we're gonna find out. Next thing I'm gonna do is bring the shoulder out and bring it down here some, about to here. That way it'll leave me some opening to work on it. And it kind of, just the way this piece of wood is, it's like it's flat on the back side. It kind of give it a perfect, I don't know, it's like it's working with me. How about that? Into that one the way I want to, but it's kind of coming along. I guess I should peel the bark, and that gave me a little better idea. Try to cut that bark off. And actually, before I do that, I'm gonna see if I can't peel it with a scrunch. Might be a little easier. I don't know. But what I do know is that bear head it's cute. I like it. Super cute. See, how long we've been on here so far? 87 minutes. Okay. Heck yeah. All right. I'm gonna see if I can't peel that. I just figure if I get the arms cut out, and it's like this log, you couldn't ask for a better, the way I started on it, because it already kicks a butt out for him to have a little rump sticking out, which is kind of funny. Get as much of that off as I can. And just where I'm trying to work, that's all I'm after right now. I'm not too worried about that right through there. Actually, this hasn't been cut down there, has it? I'm not sure if I'm gonna come back and work on this guy this evening, or if I'm gonna do something else. I don't know, but what I do know is I plan to live stream at least tomorrow, maybe late on Wednesday. I haven't made up my mind yet on that. Okay, I got that stuff kind of out of the way. I can see what's happening. So that's got to come off quite a bit, and I can cut that with that saw, so I'm going to do it. Off, dummy. really, I want to go ahead and get these hands settled. And I am going to put them in the front. And actually, the more I look at this, the more I want to take more out of the chest to make the arm stand out. And so, let's see what happens. We'll try it and go from there. Fuel up to 16. Maybe I could do it with this 029. Let's find out. It's kind of big though. You gotta watch them big saws, that's for sure. That do kickback. Wasn't bad kickback, but it was kickback. So whatever. I need to knock a little bit more off of that side. All right, let's lay that thing over there. Let's see if we can't get like, we'll try to dig out the arms right through here. That's what I'm gonna do anyway. Don't know if it's gonna work, but we're gonna So look at the sides. Look at him standing. I don't like the shoulders. I think they need to be a little bit more below the head. And I guess what I'm going for, I can go ahead and cut it off and see how it goes. I just think he needs to have a more pronounced shoulder. They don't need to be part of the neck. Even. Yeah, height-wise it's not bad, and they gotta take corners off. Real heavy on this one, but that's about it. It kind of swells out anyway, so. So realistically, I don't have any need for this frame anymore. There's a few things I could do, like pull some bark off and stuff. But by the time I go sanding and burning and sanding and all that and putting the eye detail in there and a nose detail, I can do that all on a ladder. But I keep kicking around wanting to put nose holes in him with a chainsaw. But I think I'll just wait. But I could curve him. I could smooth him out like across the front there. So I think I will do that real quick. I'm kind of torn on giving the nose hair. I don't like to. I like to just leave it that way, but it just seems to me, as big as he is, it wouldn't be a bad idea to put him like across, just in front of the eyes, and that's about it. I think I'm gonna leave him like that, but I don't know. It just, to me, at this point, I can't think my way through it no more until I get all this crap out of the way, because I don't need it anymore. I mean, there's a few times where, you know, I'm gonna be doing some stuff that's kind of high, like hair in the arms and all that, but I mean, this is like normal working heights, so that's not bad. The head was just a little too tall, I think. Okay, well, I guess I'm gonna start tearing all this stuff down. Heck yeah, I'll tell you what. Hey, my phone's dim. It's still on there, but it's dim. It got real sunny too. Let's see. Heck yeah. I'll tell you what, since you guys are in here and you're watching, hey John, I got your email, by the way. I will definitely send you some of that. I'll just leave this on, and you guys can uh-oh. Oh well, you can't win them all, right? It's the way it was rigged up on this dolly. And anyway, let's see what we got here. Heck, I can't hardly see it because of the light. Okay. All right. So you can see the apparatus I had rigged up here. Let's pull that back. There's a trailer. I'm working off that flatbed trailer. It's a 14 ET. It's hooked up to my truck. And yeah, there's a bear in the center. And then I got these boards, which all I did is I've got pressure under the tongue up here on this one. And on that one, I feed a board in, and these are screwed together. And that was enough to make it pretty, I don't know. I really need some, I really need to get some scaffolding, because I got a lot more of these I'm wanting to do. I'm wanting to do an Indian. I've got some big pieces right here. I guess I don't need these headphones anymore either, do I? But I'm gonna get this, get all this crap out of the way. I can load it up side by side. I wasn't messing around. I put 5 screws in it. That seems serious to me. And it worked. That was the thing. It worked. You never know until you try. I could have fell and broke a leg, but I didn't. You know, and you can't really argue. Well, I don't know if that was the best idea or not. Well, it worked. I'm not going to disagree on whether it was a good idea or not, but it worked. How about that? I can't believe that guy's so dumb. Well, you didn't know him that well. That's the thing. But that sun's starting to come through. It was the perfect morning to start this project, because the sun was covered up. It's still humid, but there was no sun. And I wanted to do this for the last 2 weeks, and it's just been blazing. The sun's been blazing hot, and I said, I'm not gonna do it. Not gonna put myself through it, you know. But today I looked out here, and I was running late this morning. I looked out here and I'm like, man, it's actually, the sun's not beating down hatefully. Maybe I ought to get started on that, dude. Because I figured I'd have to start it in an evening, because it's shady here in the evening. But really, in the evening, you know, you about half wore out anyway. You know, so it's not always that practical. Let's see. But yeah, I'll clean this mess up. What's going on? Heck yeah, Bear is a neat part-time preacher, has a job, plays guitar, sings awfully. Yeah, you got her. Baby Kisses is awesome. She is an awesome carver herself. Check her out. She doesn't want subscribers, but still you should subscribe to Where the Wind Blows. That's Baby Kisses. And she is an awesome carver herself. It cracks me up, Baby Kisses. You don't want to be a moderator. And I don't blame you. I'll take all this up, back up to the shanty and the 16. I got to put the chain back on. Not that that's hard, but I just sharpened it. So everything here is nice and sharp. That wood's got some knots in it. And between those knots and me just letting the tool cut, you know, it wasn't so bad. I can always back this stuff back here too. I got it pretty good at that. Side by side is pretty handy. So this guy here, he was my assistant for today. He was off camera though. I want you guys to meet Jake. And this is Jake from State Farm, and he's a nice bear. He's not too bad. He don't hurt anybody or anything, but I don't know how he got that name, State Farm. Cause man, he looks happy to me, you know. But he was my assistant today. He ran the camera and all that. And he likes being behind the scenes, kind of like baby kisses. He doesn't really want to be recognized or anything. But I just thought that we would bring him out anyway. And so you guys would know who he is. This is Jake from State Farm. And he's glad to meet everybody that's in here. How many people's in here? 98. Okay, what do you think of that, Jake? Okay, all right. He's happy about it. So anyway, let me set him over to the side. You want to go sit over to the side? Okay, let's do it. Wait a minute. If I put you, I better put you in the side-by-side. Would you rather ride in the side-by-side? Why? He said no. Why? What? He says my driving's awful. What a jerk. Okay. All right, here. Put this stupid bear in here. Hey, you just put your seatbelt on and shut up, okay? There we go. All right. So, this is going to be a bit tricky. I pulled this thing in so close, you couldn't just go forward. I got to move the side-by-side out and then pull the trailer away. So I'm going to do that. Man, it's getting warm. Sun peeked out to the inferno. Da, 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 da. Heck yeah. Looks like a big old piece of butter. Some butter carving. I don't know if you guys could hear me from that far away, but this is a butter carving. It just so happens it's spoiled butter. That's why it was so hard to carve. All right, let me get this truck out of here. I had half a bottle of water in here. Heck yeah, I never even thought about it. My phone would take over the truck, so you guys can probably hear me. I don't know if you can or not. You know, if you can, congratulations. You know, it's your reward for listening, I think. Okay. All right, I'm gonna pull this thing up in the driveway for now, and kids are gone anyway, so whatever. It's probably gonna start getting snappy and getting far away from it. Okay, there we go. That gets that out of the way. And already. So let's look at this guy, kind of a level perspective. 6 footer. See what we got here. Heck yeah. Okay, hold on. So let's check him out a little bit. So that's not bad. You know, I think his head's a little big for his body, you know. And it's kind of cat-like, but all my bears are kind of cat-like. I might decide to roll the dice and cut the side of the head down a good bit. I don't know. But if I did that, I think I could do that without having to have that truck back up there. But that said, the way I got the arms coming down, I think that'll work out pretty good. I don't know. I might just leave him like that. But it seems to me like I could probably cut his head. It looks like a giant cat a little bit, you know. But it is what it is. Yeah, so that's where I'm at. Let me see if I can read some of this. Man, the sun is just too bright. I can't read it the way it's facing. How about like this? Here, I'll walk over in the shade. Man, I'm sweating bad. Yeah, I need to stop and drink some water and stuff. And we've been on here almost 2 hours. Look at my forehead. Isn't that awesome? Yeah, it looked like I broke out with some kind of disease of some sort, right? Get it off there. But it is what it is. It's just so sweaty. It's all sticking real good. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, I'm having fun doing it. Yeah, Apple. Let's see, Bear. Yeah, okay. I ain't caught up. I'm not caught up. Hold on. Let's see. There we go. Heck yeah, I appreciate that, Billy. I think the head's a little fat. What's going on, Matthew? Glad to see you, bud. I think the head. Hey, June. I think the head's a little fat. But I don't know. We'll walk back over there again. From the side profile is great. I like the side profile. But yeah, it just looks a little fat. I might thin it down some. I don't know. I guess we'll see a little bit at a time. But I'm gonna carve the rest of the barrel down to the feet first. And to do that, I need to get a paint can out, spray paint, kind of make the lines so I kind of know what I'm doing, where I'm going, and try to get a thought process going on. So I think I'm going to come back to this afternoon, but it's going to get hot here now. I actually got a pretty good east wind, but it's going to get pretty hot. So I'm going to wait until like 6 or 7 or 8 or something like that and come back in and work on him some more. That's what I think. And clean all this up. I'll take some of this wood and get it out of here so it's a little less trip hazard and stuff like that. All right, guys, that's what I got. I appreciate y'all being here and watching. And if you can, tune back in this afternoon. If it's real late, though, I'll probably be in her flex shaft carving, especially if it rains. But that's what I got. It's rained every day. I don't know why I wouldn't miss today, you know what I mean? But it's only supposed to be a pretty slim chance. But that said, come back when you can stay later, you schmucks. Well, I can't hit the button. Okay, who's the schmuck now?